Hi there! Welcome back to My Hot Kitchen. I'm Wendy, and our little cooking show is all about creating the romantic vibe at home with a delicious dinner for two. Tonight's romantic feast gets kicked off with a gourmet stuffed artichoke. For the main course, grilled chicken with stewed white beans and seared polenta medallions. Let's get the stuffing on the artichoke started first. So what you're going to need is about a half cup of panko breadcrumbs, about a half cup of finely grated mozzarella cheese. You can also use a blend of mozzarella and Romano if you like. A nice little pinch of fresh basil that you've minced up, the zest of a whole lemon, a couple tablespoons of butter, about a tablespoon of minced up onion, a couple tablespoons of minced red bell peppers, and a couple cloves of garlic, minced. And then just blend those all together. I recommend using your fingers for the best distribution of the butter and the cheese through the breadcrumbs. Just kind of mill them together. Think loving thoughts of your food and your romantic feast. And make one delicious, consistent stuffing. That looks great. Let's move on to the artichoke. So I've already taken this artichoke and I've trimmed off the top, and I've gone around with scissors and snipped off those little pointy ends because I don't want my sweetie to stab himself while he goes in on the artichoke. And then I'm going to work my fingers into the artichoke from the inside out and sort of stretch it out and open it up. I'm going to work with each layer, one at a time, two at a time, pulling it open so that there's space for that delicious stuffing to go inside. Well, that looks pretty good. It's fairly opened up. Now I'm going to take this delicious crumb stuffing, and as I open it up, I'm going to drop the crumb stuffing inside. My objective is to get the stuffing into each layer of the artichoke so that as my sweetie eats it, he gets a little bite of yumminess with each little bite of artichoke. So I'm just down to the last little bits of my stuffing here. What I'm looking for are petals that are way too close together, because that means that I didn't get enough stuffing in there. Just putting the finishing touches on it. Oh my goodness, this is going to taste so good. Your sweetie won't even believe their palate. Well, that looks perfect. All the stuffing is in. Now the next step is to go ahead and add water. So you want to bake the artichoke in a nice little water bath so that the heart gets all tender and delicious. You want to fill it up about halfway up the artichoke. Not one sure there's enough contact with the water. Next step is to go ahead and cover it with foil or something to keep it nice and moist inside. A little loving cover here. And then to the oven with it. I have my oven set at 400 degrees, and this little artichoke is going to take about 45 minutes to 1 hour. With the artichokes in the oven and about an hour to kill before you need to start making dinner, it's a great time to go ahead and get that chicken marinating. So I'm going to whisk together an ounce of wine, an ounce of balsamic vinegar, an ounce of delicious olive oil, and the juice of a whole lemon. I just want to blend those together and emulsify the oil and the vinegar and the wine. Make one nice consistency as best I can here. And this is the same dish that I'm going to be marinating in. The next step is to take the dry ingredients. I've got a couple tablespoons of minced up onion and a couple cloves of garlic and a little bit of basil. I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle some of that on top of the chicken, spread it out, and stab it in. Before I get too carried away, I'm going to sprinkle the chicken liberally with salt and cracked pepper. Go ahead and work those flavors deep into the meat. So one of the great things about chicken is that it takes on flavors really, really well. It's very adaptable. And by stabbing it, you allow those flavors to penetrate the chicken breast even deeper. It's going to taste so good. Give them a little flip over and treat the other side with the same love. Now these are all gonna sit in the marinade and stew together. So you don't need to fuss about whether you're getting exactly the same amounts of the dry ingredients on each side of the chicken. The marinade's gonna take care of most of that part for you. Your job right here is just to create those holes so the flavor can go deep into the meat. And then go ahead and place them lovingly in your marinade. Give them a little flip so each side gets all loved up. All right, those look really, really good. And then whatever dry ingredients you have left over, just sprinkle them on top. Place this in the fridge. And let it get happy in there until you're ready to grill it off. The artichoke is done now. I can smell it. It smells so good. Can't wait to see it. Ooh, that looks quite tasty. You can tell that the artichoke is done when you go to pull a petal, and with a gentle little tug, it comes right off. Dunk it in a little butter. Wow, that's really, really good. Now, with the assistance of a couple tools here, I'm gonna allow the water to drain off for a second. Place it in a nice little serving dish. And then it's time to enjoy a little bit more.
Yum.
It is time to turn our attention to the main course. I'm gonna go ahead and retrieve the chicken from the fridge. Looks very happy in there. Give it a little loving brush with the delicious marinade. Then I'm gonna stick it on my very hot grill. I've had my grill preheating for a few minutes now, so it should be nice and hot. I'm gonna place these bad boys presentation side down on the hottest part so that I get the prettiest appearance. Brush a little bit more marinade over them. Always good to keep seasoning them up, keeps them nice and moist and juicy as they are grilling. So with the chicken started, now you want to get your white bean stew started. So start by taking 1 carrot that you've sliced into nice thin little pieces and simmering it in about a cup of chicken or vegetable stock. Give it a little stir here, make sure all the carrots get exposure to the stock. And what your objective here at this point is to just soften up the carrots a touch. So bring it up to a simmer, soften them up, and then you can proceed with the rest of the stew. Oh, that smells nice. Just gonna check the doneness here on these. Excellent, softened up just a touch. It's time to add the white beans. I have about 2/3 to 3/4 of a cup of white beans right here. Stir those in. Also about half of a red pepper that I've sliced up. About 1/8 of an onion, diced up. And I'm gonna hold off on adding the broccoli until it's just about done. And use a gentle folding and pushing motion here because I want the beans to maintain their nice shape. I don't really want them to get crushed up. So at this point, I'm gonna go ahead and cover it with a lid and allow it to stew together for a little bit while I get started on the polenta. So the polenta that I'm choosing to use is actually a pre-made polenta. It comes in a tube. It's sold at most grocery stores. And the reason that I'm choosing to use pre-made polenta is because traditionally, polenta takes about 45 minutes to an hour to make. It's like non-stop stirring, and I can think of other things I'd rather be doing than stirring a big pot of polenta. So I'm just gonna cut into this packaging here and unwrap this fun tube of goodness. And another thing that's really fun about this type of polenta is that you can make polenta medallions out of it. You can also add milk or stock or water to it and make it into a softer, creamier consistency if you like. I'm just gonna work my knife in there and slice off pieces that are about 1/4 to 1/2 inch thick. I'm gonna count on about 3 for each of us. polenta tastes really, really, really good. It's very versatile, an excellent substitute for pasta or potatoes. And it's just a fun consistency to work with here. So now I'm going to come back over here to my saute pan. I'm going to add a couple dollops of butter to it. Give it a little swirl here and get it melted and nice and happy. Butter is going to be your best bet for a nice brown color on your polenta. When the butter's all melted, you can go ahead and add the polenta right into it. Yummy. That's going to taste really, really good. Then I'm going to garnish it. I'm going to grab a little bit of minced garlic, sprinkle it over the top here, and some minced basil, sprinkling that on this top side as well. And then for a little extra fun, some yummy mozzarella and Romano cheeses mixed together. Loved up and ready to be delicious. So at this point, you can add the broccoli. The vegetables and the beans have had a couple minutes to simmer together. The broccoli is always the last one to go in because it cooks in the least amount of time. Hold the yumminess together gently another time. Season it to taste with a little salt and pepper. Mix that goodness into the stew here. Replace the lid. Now let's flip the chicken. I'm going to douse it with a little bit more of this marinade before I give it a flip. Always, always, always hold on to my marinade, just for this reason, until the meat is fully cooked. Doesn't that look yummy? More marinade. Let's hit these guys with a little cracked red pepper and give them a flip. They should be ready to go now. Cheese and the garlic and the basil are going to brown beautifully, make a nice texture on the underside of these Polenta Medallions here. It's going to be the first part that hits your sweetie's palate. Come on, work with me. Flip. Everything is done, so let's get it plated here. Using a slotted spoon to pull the beans out, put those on the plate first. Wow, that is truly a work of art right there. Next part I'm going to add is going to be the little Polenta Medallions. Scallop them up here, keeping the yummy garlic and cheese side down, so that's the first part that hits your sweetie's palate. Bring on these gorgeous chicken breasts. Snuggle them in right there. These babies are ready to go on the table. Turn off this annoying fan. So that was a nice, savory, and beautiful feast that you just whipped up for your sweetie. This one should pair beautifully with a Pinot Gris or a Chablis. Now call in your sweetie and have a little fun with your dinner tonight. Ciao, apron. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Not too bad.
Dinner time.
My love?
Thank you.
I know this time of day. Wow, this is so good. Ooh, I need an extra bite on this one.
Yay.
This is such a hot kitchen.
So thanks for joining me in my hot kitchen tonight. Have fun turning up the heat in your kitchen, and I'll see you next week. Night-night. Pet the kitties.